Welcome back, my fellow Spartans, to the Triple S Variety channel. I'm your host Triple S, and in this video I'll be breaking down and reviewing the 4th episode of the 2nd season of the Halo TV show titled Reach. Now let's begin. Point number 1, so it turns out I'm a bit of a dum-dum. I mentioned in my previous video, I wonder where the Greater Keystone was being kept when McKee and the Arbiter found it, when all along the start of the scene showed a subtitle saying it took place at Sword Base. Thank you to user Big Blue Tits for commenting and pointing this out to me. Love your username, by the way. It's doubly embarrassing as well because in my breakdown video of the We Need Master Chief trailer, I also went through the promotional images posted on the Halo the Series Instagram, which revealed the names for all the episodes. And I even wondered if the title of episode 2 being Sword could have been referring to Sword Base, a location of major significance in the game Halo Reach. So unfortunately, what could have been a W if I hadn't missed a location subtitle instead turned into an L. Point number 2.
Keith.
Yeah, fuck you, Keith, your name is stupid. I actually wonder if the name Keith was picked because it rhymes with Chief, who after the events of episode 3, Vanek is not too happy with. Point number 3, we've seen at the end of the Halo Declassified video for episode 1, a preview of things to come this season, and it showed us Perez in Spartan 3 armor, and her losing her family and friends here is most likely the biggest reason why she chooses to become a Spartan 3. This ties in with the Spartan 3s of the Blue timeline, as rather than being kidnapped specifically, selected 6-year-olds, they were composed of regular kids who volunteered to fight the Covenant due to having lost family and friends. Point number 4, oh damn, I knew Reach had Gootas, but I didn't know they had T-Rexes as well. Point number 5, we're barely into the episode and already this fist fight an armorless Chief has with his stealth elite goes to show it ain't the armor that makes him a Spartan and a damn good soldier, but how he is as a person. Point number 6, I'm guessing since none of the other stealth elites stuck around to help their buddy out, their main objective wasn't to engage with anyone, but to sneak their way to somewhere specific. Could have done a better job at sneaking though by not tossing around any humans in their path. Point number 7, I find it funny that you could totally apply this conversation between Talia and Chief to actually playing as Chief in the games. You know what to expect, especially if you're playing a level for the 11th time, the plasma and death doesn't phase you, and you know at the end, Chief isn't going to die because he never does and probably never will. Point number 8, I love the Antiques woman has herself an original Xbox and a couple of Duke controllers. This is the second Xbox Easter egg in the show after one appeared in the 4th episode of the 1st season. Maybe we'll see another Xbox somewhere in the 4th episode of the 3rd season. I hope so. Point number 9.
ONI access only.
Oh my god, can people stop saying ONI and just say ONI? ONI sounds so weird to hear. Point number 10, it's interesting Halsey tells Soren here that she knew the moment she saw him that he wanted to be a Spartan because in the Blue timeline, he is the only one she gave a choice to become a Spartan or to be put into a foster home. He accepted her offer and then later when he was given the choice of going through with the augmentations or not, he accepted again. Halsey described him as being an experiment within an experiment, and I wonder if she ever really did give him a choice. Can you really give a choice to someone who you already strongly suspect beforehand will say yes? Point number 11.
He said it! He said it!
Point number 12, mad respect to Chief for not having an issue with Lewis, a blind guy, being in a firefight. If the guy wants to fight, let him fight. He used to be a Spartan, he knows what he's capable of. Point number 13, if anyone's got an issue with fully automatic battle rifles, just know that's always been a thing, and if you didn't have an issue with them being fully automatic in Halo Landfall, the collective name for 3 short live-action films which came out in 2007, then you shouldn't have an issue with them being fully automatic here. Point number 14, so yeah, in behind-the-scenes clips from the Halo Declassified videos, we see the ends of the guns light up when the trigger is pulled to let the effects people know when to apply muzzle flashes. Seems they could have done a bit of a better job in this shot though of making it not just look like a torch being turned on and off. Point number 15, damn, losing both Danilo and Lewis. This could go either way for Riz now. Either she's going to give up fighting because of seeing too many friends die, or convince her to remain a Spartan and keep on fighting. My money's on the latter. Point number 16, so what, did McKee and the Arbiter just happen to arrive at Cortana at the same time as Halsey and Soren or something? Did McKee and the Arbiter know Cortana was being kept there? And what about Halsey? Did Did she know or just suspect? This at least explains why in the season preview at the end of the Halo Declassified video for episode 1, we see Cortana speaking to someone in the Sangheili language. She's most likely talking to Makee about John. Point number 17, okay, how strong was that grenade or how volatile was that room to cause such an explosion it launched Halsey and Soren off the ground and into the wall? Like, seriously. Point number 18, I don't know why, I just find it funny, John, Riz and Talia marching with BRs and a couple of Marines just come up to them like, we'll take those, thank you very much. I mean, what, is there a no guns allowed policy or something? Point number 19, again this feels like something right out of the games. You play through a mission fighting alongside Marines and at the end, it really is just like they stop existing for Chief and the player. Point number 20, if Agassiz taking Silver Team's Magellan armor despite the fact that it would give them a much higher chance of not dying isn't something you're convinced he would do, let me remind you that in the Blue timeline, he literally tried to kill the Master Chief. During a field test, he threw anti-tank mines, ODSTs, chain guns, and an airstrike against a Spartan, but he failed to kill Chief though. Obviously. Point number 21, hearing Keyes and John mention the groundside plants powering the orbital max stations tickles the lore part of my brain, as in the Fall of Reach, Chief has Fred 104 take command of the Red Team, composed of 22 Spartan 2s, including Fred, and orders them to defend the power generators from Covenant ground forces for as long as possible. Point number 22, Chief mentioning Thermopylae is interesting, not just because it's where 300 Spartans and a bunch of other Greeks held off Xerxes' much larger Persian army for 7 days, but because episode 7 of this season is in fact called Thermopylae. So are we going to get another holding a large enemy force at a choke point scenario again in episode 7? Point number 23.
Do you have any idea what just happened in there?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know what katana is at all. Point number 24, well that explains how Soren got away without his ship being shot down like it was in the Blue timeline. Halsey just let him go. It's interesting to consider that if his arm hadn't been deformed in augmentation and he hadn't decided to leave, he'd be the Spartan every other Spartan looked up to. He'd be the Master Chief. Point number 25, if there aren't supposed to be any Covenant ships over Reach, then where are these plasma bolts coming from and what are the turrets shooting at? Banshees? Seraphs? Point number 26, top tier inspirational motivational speech from Keyes here, up there with President Whitmore's speech in Independence Day and Captain Mifuni's speech in The Matrix Revolutions. And if you've gotten to this point in season 2 and its painfully obvious message has gone over your head, Keyes spells it out clearly here that Master Chief isn't just the armor he wears. He's not just a guy in a suit, no matter what Agassiz believes. Master Chief is John. He is a man. The man is the hero, not the armor. Point number 27, Keyes got to drop 2 F-bombs this season, and I love it, since it's something I couldn't hear Keyes doing in Halo Combat Evolved. When would be the best times for Keyes in Combat Evolved to drop an F-bomb, I wonder though? When do you guys think he could have said it? Point number 28, I love the shared sentiments between the Spartans, what with how we had Lewis saying, I'm right where I need to be, and now Chief here says, I'm where I'm supposed to be. Point number 29, it's neat we get to see not just a Wraith, but also a Scorpion tank this episode, and the Scorpion being at a bridge reminds me of the Halo 2 level Metropolis, and the bridge going to be blown up reminds me of the Halo 3 ODST level Oni Alpha Site. Point number 30,
Hello, Jacob.
Catherine.
Donkey!
point number 31, this is a good question. Where the hell is Miranda? Out of all the trailers and Halo Declassified previews, we've only ever gotten one quick shot of her. I wonder if the reason we haven't seen much of her is because it would spoil that she's actually working on Agassiz's Spartan 3s, which is what I suspect she's been doing all this time. Point at number 32, so I thought these cable things were already there when Soren walks towards the edge, but they actually all appear out of nowhere between shots, and you can even see a new one get thrown up on the right. Did Soren and the Marines nearby just stand and watch as all these cables were thrown up? And I have to assume the Jackals were only just a few levels down, since they would have had to climb up the cables impossibly fast to get to the top from ground level that quick. Point number 33, I don't have an issue with the show killing Keyes here, but I do have a bit of an issue with the execution of them killing off Keyes. Why do the Jackals just stop shooting and just stare at him? Do they somehow know who he is? Like, do the Covenant have a list of most wanted humans for capture and interrogation or something? I mean, most casual Halo fans probably don't realise how intelligent Jackals are, and due to their profiteering nature, would be the most likely Covenant race to capture high-ranking humans in return for a reward. Point number 34, mad respect to the people making this show to have the balls to kill off Keyes in a new way rather than just doing his day from Halo Combat Evolved again. Really got me interested where they're going to take their version of the Halo story if they're willing to deviate from the Blue timeline as significantly as this. Point number 35, I'm sorry, but is anyone else not a fan of the way Pablo Schreiber reloads? Him slamming it in the, I presume, CGI magazine like he does just seems off to me. Point number 36, how the heck did Vanek and these Marines manage to let a jackal get past them? It's a good thing he didn't decide to turn around and stab or shoot the humans in the back, and instead just stood around waiting for Chief to jump over and bash it in its face. Point number 37, you could kinda see towards the end of episode 2 that something was up with one of the Arbiter's eyes, but this episode clearly shows us that he might actually be blind in his left eye, as it's white in colour and there's scarring on the skin around it. Point number 38, this Arbiter seems like a combination of Thelvadami, the Arbiter of the mainline Halo games, and Ripper Marami, the Arbiter in the first Halo Wars game. Thelvadami, as mentioned in the second terminal of Halo 2 Anniversary, displayed honour when he caught the Marines of the 3rd Battalion Reserves unawares and allowed them to armour and arm themselves before attacking. This Arbiter shows similar honour by killing the elite who shot Chief and ruined their honourable duel, but this casual killing of a comrade is very reminiscent of the ruthlessness of Ripper Marami. It also reminded me of Game of Thrones at Season 1 Episode 5 when Jaime Lannister and Ned Stark duel, but then Jaime knocks out a Lannister soldier who intervened by stabbing Ned in the leg. Point number 39, Chief was hit by a plasma pistol that went right through him even without it being overcharged. I would have believed it more that it went right through him if it had been a shot from a plasma rifle, but for some reason we haven't really seen any plasma rifles being used much this season. Point number 40, +1W. I speculated in my breakdown of the official trailer that the reason we weren't seeing much of Vanek in the trailers was because he would be the first of Silver Team to die. And then in my breakdown of the We Need Master Chief trailer, I believe we actually saw how he was going to die, stabbed by an elite with a needle shard. Wait, I was right twice on 2 separate occasions. Does that mean I get 2 Ws? I've also seen people speculating that since Vanek's now dead, that could mean Soren might join Silver Team. Ignoring the fact that Silver Team doesn't just have to always be composed of 4 members. I mean, we've seen on the board in previous episodes that other Spartan teams have more or fewer than 4 members. It also reminds me of comedian Stephen K. Amos's segment in Series 3 Episode 6 of Live at the Apollo, where he jokes that the BBC has a diversity policy and he has to wait for Lenny Henry to die before he can get his own TV show.
1 in, 1 out, let's not rock the boat.
I also wouldn't be surprised if some people tried to unironically accuse the people making this show and who wrote this episode of being racist, since Lewis, Keyes and Vanek are all black and all get killed off. Point number 41, Chief felt nothing when he remembered losing Nora 098 on Mamor due to having his Peloton at the time, but he definitely feels losing Vanek here and can now maybe also sympathise a bit more with Talia losing her family and friends. Point number 42, now let's look at the preview for the next episode from the end of the episode's Halo Declassified video. Quan and Lara have made quick work in getting to Reach as we see Quan helping Halsey in keeping John alive. Lara and Soren talk to a guy who looks like a discount Luke Skywalker from the sequel trilogy about finding Kessler, and then we see McKee asking the Arbiter to believe in her because she is the Blessed One. You can see as well High Charity in the background behind her, and in the shot of the Arbiter there are holographic trees on the left. Are they on a Covenant ship or a captured human ship? I called it that the mother would return somehow. She's too unique looking of a character to just be a one and done. The question is she actually alive and on Reach, or is she appearing to Quan in her vision? Is the whole bonfire scene with the Red Robe people, with Riz, with Halsey, with Chief, is it all just a vision? The mother tells Quan to not deny her name and her purpose, saying what sounds like "save me," I think, and it's close now to Quan whilst we get a shot of the monster cave while drawing. I thought at first she also said protect her as well, but after listening to it a few more times, I think she's actually just calling Quan Protector. A quick shot of Kai putting on her helmet, which then most likely will lead into her seeing the army of Spartan 3s Akasin has made so far, as we've seen in the trailers. And then we hear Cortana say they're losing Chief and asking someone to help him, as we get quick flashes of McKee and Chief being on a Halo ring from Season 1, someone wearing a face mask with a torch who could be Miranda, and then the shot of Parangoski that we saw in the Fighters 1 trailer. To round all this off, my most disliked part of the episode goes to the use of energy swords. Look, energy swords are cool and all, but I feel at this point the people making this show are just having the elites constantly using them to include more close quarters combat. What happened to all the plasma rifles and gunfights from Season 1? Well, at least the elites are actually trying to use a melee weapon when closing the distance with whom they are trying to kill, unlike in recent movies and TV shows where characters forget that guns are ranged weapons and so they don't need to march right up to whom they are trying to shoot. In fact, that's how Jin Ha got himself stabbed in Season 1. And my most liked part of the episode goes to Keyes' speech. Need I say more? Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Triple S Variety channel. Why not leave a comment below pointing out anything I missed but you noticed? I would love to hear from you all. I've been Triple S, you've all been amazing, and I shall see you all in the next video.